what subject could you imagine yourself tackling next? Like, does writing this book make you think, oh, I want to write a book about this other thing too?
You know what I really want to do? I want to write like pulpy crime stories. Like there's so much of this book is about the art and about the industry, and that's cool, but learning about, digging through like trial transcripts, learning about, the structures of street life and illicit economies, whether it's mixtapes or drugs or strip clubs, like that side of things really interests me. And like I like, I like crime stories. Like I grew up on Goodfellas and Casino and The Sopranos and Menace to Society, and these are like, I think that there are stories to tell even outside of music, but in a tangential world. You know, that, like I said, like people are attracted to this stuff always throughout human history. But I think bringing humanity to like salacious scandals and crime and violence, like that I think that I want to move in that direction.
Nice. I got to ask you this now because this is popping in my head. But what do you think of like some YouTubers have basically taken reporting on rap gangs and crime and stuff to a totally new level? Like when
I saw you had Trapler Ross.
Yeah, I watched a 3-hour documentary he did about G Herbo and the No Limit stuff, and I mean, it is one of the most harrowing, horrible stories I've ever heard in my life in terms of the sheer scale of murder that happened in this one gang war that, keep in mind, is not even the main Chicago gang war. Like, this is one subset versus subset type thing. It is horrible. And the fact that he put together a 3-hour documentary about this, I just thought was unbelievable. And then I think of somebody like 1090 Jake.
I was going to say 1090 Jake is like the guy. Like, he is so good at this. It's America's Most Wanted for this generation.
He's just taken, like, there was a beef between Bandman Kevo and 16 Shot Him, and they had both accused each other of having been involved in various stuff, from being a snitch to messing with an underage girl, whatever. And 1090 Jake shut the door on both the accusations by actually digging into the paperwork, and that just stands out to me. I was like, there's some guy working in the New York Times where this is his job, and he's like probably doing a lot of the same stuff.
And this stuff is both ethically icky in some cases, especially when you think back on the people who are I'm not going to name names, but people who are maybe stoking some of this beef, or trying to get people in trouble, or trying to pit people against each other. Like, I think there's that voyeuristic aspect to a lot of it, but then some of these guys are, like you're saying, really good reporters, and they're doing the research, and they're drawing the connections, and they're providing the context, they're reading the court papers. Like, I can't take my eyes off of it, because I love rap and I love journalism and research and uncovering information. And at the same time, I'll go on some of these Reddit pages about, these local gang wars or whatever it is. And it's like people rooting for them like they're sports teams or something. Like, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
Like to be cheering on violence. But I do think, if done the right way, there is value in piecing some of this stuff together and putting it out there for people. And yeah, I look at guys like Jake or like Ross. And on one hand, I really admire what they do, and on the other, I'm like,
because you're somebody
queasy.
Just because how much training real journalists get and how many standards that you might end up holding yourself to, and especially with the Times, it's just like, there's anything that you want to write is going to be looked at and fact checked, and there's
bulletproof.
Just all this analysis put upon it in order to avoid having to issue corrections in the future. And somebody like 1090 Jake, I think, actually is being pretty responsible with how he uses his platform, but it's like somebody who has no training, it's kind of like he could easily find himself getting into situations where he's reporting on something that's not true, that gets somebody in a situation. And I've seen him have to take down videos as soon as they come out because of this sort of thing.
But I'll say those guys do more work than a lot of music journalists out there today, and a lot of people running these very popular pages, even websites that once meant something, are not doing that sort of digging. And you'll see, think of coverage of the YSL case, or a Thug, or, a beef, a Dirk Youngboy beef. people are irresponsible, and people are irresponsible with platforms. And then there are these guys who are creating their own platforms who are taking it layers and layers deeper and doing their homework and trying to reach out to people. Like I think that I'm in awe of the amateur skill set of some of these guys, and yeah, I hope it stays on the right side of the line. But I think that their natural instinct for uncovering stuff for reporting, especially like a 1090 Jake, is like extremely impressive.
All right, people, we just hit 300,000 subscribers. You know we're trying to hit 400,000 subscribers. So that little red button, tap it, tap in. Appreciate y'all.